Welcome back to my workshop. Now today we're going to... What are we going to do today? What are we going to do? I know. Let's ask Alexa. Alexa, set me a challenge.
I bet Frank's little workshop can't power an engine with a cup of tea.
That sounds like a challenge. So, Alexa's challenged me to power an engine with a cup of tea. Now, that's not possible because tea doesn't burn. It's not like petrol or diesel. It doesn't burn. But what does it have? It has heat. So, what we need is an engine that runs on heat and a cup of tea. So, now we have a cup of tea. What we need is an engine that runs on a heat source. Here's one I prepared earlier. Right, let's put this on here and see what happens. It's not moving yet. Give it time. Right, let's give it a little jog, see if we can make it work. No. Oh, nearly. Maybe I should have used hotter tea. Let's try again. Not yet. So what we have here is what's called a Stirling engine. Now this engine was invented by Robert Stirling and the Encyclopedia Britannica, volume 11, says, let's have a look, put the glasses on. Robert Stirling, Scottish clergyman, best known as the inventor of the Stirling engine, a type of external combustion engine. He also invented optical devices and other instruments. Stirling's first patent was granted in 1816 and his engines were manufactured from 1818 to 1922, during which time they were used to pump water on farms and to generate electricity. Later attempts to develop the Stirling engine for commercial use proved largely unsuccessful, though its potential for quiet operation, multiple fuel sources, high efficiency, low pollution and high power density continues to hold considerable attraction for researchers. That's what Encyclopedia Britannica says. So the main components of this engine are a bottom plate, a top plate, a piston in the middle, a push rod here onto a crankshaft, a flywheel, a piston, and another crankshaft. Now that's the main components. So hopefully this thing will start all on its own. See if we can get it going. Ooh. There you go. So now this is running just from the heat of the cup of tea. So how does it do that? So what's happening is the heat from the tea is heating this bottom plate. Now the bottom plate is then hotter than the top plate. And what this engine relies on is the difference in temperature between the bottom and the top plates. So if you look closely inside, there's a small piston that's going up and down. Now what happens is the plate on the bottom heats up the air that's in the bottom part of the chamber. This air expands, which pushes up the piston. So now the air that's in the top part of the chamber, which is cooler, gets forced down to the bottom. So that transfers the heat to the bottom, which makes the bottom colder. Then the bottom heats it up again and pushes the piston back up again. So this cycle continues. Now what happens is the displaced air pushes this little piston up and down, which then rotates this little crank. Okay, so that goes round and round and round. Now that little crank will turn this wheel, and what it does is it uses the inertia in this wheel to continue the cycle. Now, to make sure that this continues, there's 2 crankshafts, okay, and they are offset by 90 degrees. Got one this side which is connected to the inside piston, and one this side which is connected to this white piston. So what happens is then the inertia of the wheel continues the cycle and it carries on going. Excellent! So it's very quiet, there's no exhaust gases. Why don't we use this for anything? Well, actually it can be used for things. It's not used very much nowadays, but they have used it in things like submarines, because as you notice, it's very quiet. Now this in a submarine is a good benefit. No pollution, okay, which is fantastic, and they are actually quite efficient. But the problem is the amount of heat that you get from a cup of tea isn't enough to drive a submarine, and it's definitely not enough to drive a car. So you'd need a rather large heat source. Yeah, and heat generally, it costs a lot in environmental issues like exhausts, burning, carbon, etc. But I just thought I'd show you this. So there you go, Alexa. Done. Now it's slowing down. So there won't be enough energy in a cup of tea to get me to work. So that's it. It was a very quick look into something different, something a little bit sciencey. That was the Stirling engine. This is obviously only a little model. It's probably worth getting one of these just for the science value. Educational toy, very interesting. There's lots more to it. It can also run on cold, so if you put this on a bag of frozen peas, it'd work. But the interesting thing with that is it would go the other way, because obviously the heat is then being taken away, so the piston first moves down, which means it goes the other way. Obviously not very powerful this size, and just to make that go round with a cup of tea, the amount of energy that you needed in electricity to boil the water, there's so many energy losses in that process that that's not really worth doing. But you know, an alternative source of momentum, energy, yeah, worth watching. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting. If you like this kind of video, just let me know and I'll do some more. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do. Hopefully we'll get back to doing some woodworky stuff soon. And that's it. So stay safe and I'll speak to you all later. Bye. So, Alexa's challenge. Oh God. So, what we have here is an engine. It's powered. We can. It's a small piston. Let's get you straight. Yeah. There's a bottom plate. So you've got a plate on the bottom. Oh, hang on. Ah, you're joking. This has been in my pocket. That's no good.